Good afternoon. Welcome to Your Health as Well. I'm your host, Dr. Stephen Katz, alongside my two co-hosts, Dr. Loreena Ryder and Dr. Hannah Lindsay. We're here to help navigate your journey to wellness, but we'll do it simply without all of that confusing medical terminology that everybody hates. We're here to provide practical solutions to your health issues that allows your body's healing systems to do the work for you. It's simple, it's natural, and it works. If you're still struggling with your health, you can come see us at Naturopathic Physicians Group to help get your life back.
Dr. Ryder here with your topic of the day. So last week we began healthy weight and how to achieve it part 1. We only got halfway through all of that material. So this week is part 2 of healthy weight and how to achieve it. But before we get into that, we need to settle a little debate. So we were wondering, or it was Dr. Katz actually, who was wondering why men's and women's clothing sizes are different. Because how men's have 38, 44, 50, so on. And women's sizes are more like 4, 8, 12. So why the big difference? What was your theory, Dr. Katz?
It wasn't a theory. It's the fact. It's the truth, is that women didn't want to be the same size as men. And they got offended with the 32, 33, so they had to make it 12.
Okay.
Or 10, or 8, or 6, or 0, which was the thing I really got pissed off with.
Yeah.
You just can't be a 0.
Yeah. What does that
You're a
even
nothing.
Women's sizes vary so much, though, depending on where you go. Because I still see pant sizes that are 28, 30, 32.
Yes, and that depends on where they're made. The UK has different sizing, and they have adapted. Yes. So let's get into the history of where this all came from. So men's clothing sizes are primarily defined in terms of body measurement, which were based on chest size. And women's clothing sizes are given in coded numbers that correspond to bust, waist, hip, and height measurements.
So you said coded sizes. It's like a secret code.
We have more things to measure.
Yes, we do. You could measure all the same things, but it's not as variable.
It's a code.
So the history of sizing dates back as far as the 1500s. Most people made their own clothing at that point in time. The small majority of people had a tailor if they were wealthy. But both of these types of clothing required a purchasing of cloth ahead of time. So you really needed to know how much cloth to buy. Then, when the wars of the 1800s broke out, mass uniforms were needed. So they developed a sizing system. So that's when this really all started. Sizing for men was based on a single chest measurement. So they made an entire uniform off of just one single chest measurement. Then, fast forward to 1958, this mass production of uniforms morphed into mass production for just clothing in general for citizens. So then a female sizing system was adopted using sizes 8 through 42. The sizes were determined by that waist bust measurement. So if you had, say, a 32-inch waist and a 39-inch bust, you were a size 12. Okay. You with me so far? So then,
sure.
Here we go. This is the answer to the debate. So then in the 1980s, garment companies began downgrading sizes and added lower sizes like 2, 0, and 00, introducing what is known as vanity sizing. So a waist.
So fake.
Resizing.
Fake.
So a waist size that would have previously been a size 12 is now a size 8.
See? Fake.
Yeah, but that feels good for a woman to
That's
be
my
a
point.
size
But that was
8.
the point I said from the beginning. It was all about just to sound good, not actually measure correctly.
Yeah. So
I was right.
Sizing became a marketing tool, basically.
Oh. Yeah, I was right.
I'm
not right very often, but I was right on this. It was fake.
So pretty much Marilyn Monroe was like the ideal perfect size back then. And she was a 12 in the 1960s. But today she would be a size 6.
You said a 32-inch waist was a size 12. Mm-hmm. That's not a size 12 today.
Right.
That's small.
Yeah.
Size doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yes, you were right, because they did do vanity sizing, and that's just annoying. But the whole system of how they came up with 8-12 was because chest, waist, and what was the other measurement?
Girls always complain that they think guys they lie about their size, but here women, they have a whole system of it.
I find this interesting that this happened as early as the 1980s.
It's interesting.
They added the lower sizes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So let's get back into nutrition.
Okay.
So we are doing part 2 of healthy weight and how to achieve it. We pretty much did how the conventional world looks at healthy weight, and we want to go more into the naturopathic world. So on that note, let's begin. All right, so let's debunk some of the ideas in the beginning. One of the things that very commonly people use to determine are they eating healthy or not is the nutrition facts on your label. So what do you think of the nutrition facts?
I think they're bogus.
Why are they bogus?
Just because their idea of nutrition isn't necessarily the best, and I guess that's all subjective, but it's based on macros. And
the percent daily value is saying that everyone should get the same amount of everything every single day, which could not be further from the truth. Not everyone should be having the same calories each day. Not everyone should be eating the same amount of macros every day. So people can look at that percent and be, oh, I'm getting 30% of my protein from this protein bar. But that's going to vary based on the person.
Yeah, and the other problem with the nutrition label is that they make every fat the same. There's so many different kinds of fats. There's different types of fats and which ones are good and which ones are bad. And on the nutrition label, they basically make all proteins, all fats, and all carbs the same, which is ridiculous. A piece of fruit is not the same as eating a gram of refined sugars. So when they look at the nutrition label, basing your health off how many grams of protein or carbs or how much cholesterol, it's all fake. So it doesn't matter unless what does matter is what you're actually eating, and that's going to be found in the ingredients. So we are very big sticklers with our patients when it comes to reading ingredients and understanding what you're putting in your mouth, because that's the only part they can't lie on. Now, they'll bend the truth on the ingredients. They'll use words you've never heard of, like words like vitelin means egg. They'll use crappy words like that, but if you understand the terminology that vitelin means egg, you'll be able to avoid the bad foods if it's like that.
Yeah, and typically I am just an ingredient reader unless I'm like wanting to drop some weight or change my body shape a little bit, whether I count macros or not. It's just the ingredients that I'm looking at. And I think that the food pyramid change that they made was better. Do you guys remember when that happened? Was that like 10 years ago or so? But I don't think it's the best, but I think it's better than the previous one.
Yeah, the previous food pyramid was absolutely ridiculous. They made a change where they really balanced it out a bit more. So instead of being a pyramid starting at the bottom with your grains and your breads and then moving up to vegetables and fruits and on up to dairy and poultry, they have kind of spread it out. So it's more, kind of looks more of a pie chart, and they put it in a triangle format so they can still call it a pyramid, but it's not the same way where your largest group is on the bottom and it's moving up. All of the food groups are split a little more evenly, so you're getting a better balance of your food groups and healthier versions of those foods as well.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that many people even know that they did change the food pyramid. It wasn't really that big of a deal.
The original one was dumb, so they had to change it. The problem is they came up with a second one that's slightly less dumb, but still very dumb. But again, leave it to the government to do something smart like that. So ultimately, the food pyramid is a disaster. It's a train wreck. So if you want to be unhealthy, then you can follow the food pyramid all you want. But if you actually want to be healthy, the food pyramid is dumb. I don't think I said dumb enough, but it's dumb.
And I'm definitely an ingredient reader too, but one thing I'll say about the nutrition facts label, the one thing that I tend to look at is if there are added sugars. That's the one value that I seem to check on foods, just because they love to sneak added sugars into foods.
I do a segment called What Isn't Your Doctor Telling You? This isn't an anti-doctor segment, but it's a segment where I like to go over different things that you may or may not have heard of when speaking to your primary care physician. So today I'm going to talk about something called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is very serious, especially as we age. So if you've never heard of sarcopenia, it's basically the medical term for age-related loss of skeletal muscle mass and strength. So we all know as we age, we tend to lose some of our muscle mass. But with sarcopenia, that muscle mass that we lose as we age turns into fat. So oftentimes, we're like, man, I'm doing the same exercising I always did, but I don't feel as strong, and yet I feel like I'm still putting on a bunch of fat where I used to have muscle. There is a term for that, and it's called sarcopenia. It actually starts generally for most people around their 4th decade of life, so in their 40s. And basically, it continues to get worse and worse, and you can lose up to 50% of your muscle mass by your 80s. So from 40s to 80s, you're screwed. No, I'm just kidding. Not like that. But in general, though, from 40 to 80, you're going to lose, if you don't take care of it, 50% of your muscle mass, and it's going to turn into fat. So that's not good. But one of the main reasons why this happens is something called a sedentary lifestyle. All the more reason why you want to make sure you're maintaining your exercise regimen, and you want to make sure that, especially as you age, you continue to exercise and you want to continue to use your muscles. When you retire, if all you do is go sit down and watch TV and do anything else like that, you're going to have a worse case of sarcopenia than anybody else. The other reason why people start to develop sarcopenia as they age is crappy diet. We talk about diet all the time. If you eat crappy, you're going to feel crappy. And so if your diet is not good, you are going to put on more fat pounds and you are going to lose your muscle mass. So remember that term, sarcopenia.
When your 4th decade of life, isn't that your 30s?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're correct.
Even younger if you're in your 30s.
Shit.
Close.
I'm in my 30s.
Your 4th
You better-
decade.
better
I'm
get
all
on it.
full of sarcopenia.
You're in your 4th decade.
I'm
of
sarcoed.
So when it comes to testing that we might do to help support a healthy weight, if you have not heard us mention a food allergy sensitivity panel, then welcome to Your Health is Wealth. You've probably never listened to our episodes before because we talk about it every single week. Food allergy and sensitivity panel is a staple to understand nutrition. And this is not the same thing as an allergy test that you might have performed by an allergist. You might be familiar with a skin prick testing either on your arm or your back. This is not the same thing. Skin prick testing is only testing a single antibody called IgE, whereas a food allergy sensitivity panel is going to look at IgE as well as IgG. 2 different antibodies looking at the allergies as well as sensitivities, and both are crucial to understanding the health of the GI tract and how you are absorbing your food and nutrients.
With an allergist, one of the biggest concerns with any allergy, of course, is an anaphylactic shock when your throat swells up and you can't breathe. All anaphylactic reactions are IgE, which is why the allergist is always going to run those types of testing. But not all IgE are anaphylactic, though. Basically, IgE means immediate. It's an immediate reaction. So between the environmental aspect, if you come in contact with an allergen, or when you start to chew the food within a couple hours of consuming the food, your body will respond. But you have to think of response as any type of inflammatory condition, especially with food. So it's not just going to be the anaphylactic. It's not just going to be hives. It could be anything. It could be headaches. It could be acid reflux. It could be a lot of different conditions associated with inflammation. So you have to think outside the box when it comes to responding. But IgE, when it comes to food reactions, oftentimes is about 15 to 20% of food reactions. It's not majority of them. So if all you've ever done is test IgE for food or only tested some foods with your allergist, there's a good chance you're missing majority of the reactions. So if your doctor or your allergist tells you, oh, you're good to eat these foods because you didn't react on this food panel, you could be still very reactive to those foods and have no idea and creating a lot of other damage in your body.
As far as other naturopathic testing, now most of these tests are done with a traditional doctor, but we also like to see a CBC, which is a complete blood count. We want to check any inflammatory reactions in your white blood cells, which are your immune system helpers and initiators. Also a CMP, which is a complete metabolic panel that's going to tell us how your liver is doing, how you're metabolizing things. And insulin and hemoglobin A1C are super important whenever it comes to your glucose and any insulin resistance that might be occurring.
That insulin test is so important for insulin resistance because although hemoglobin A1C is the most popular test for any type of diabetes, measuring your glucose metabolism over the course of 3 months and that level of glucose in your blood, if you don't test insulin, you can't actually see your level of insulin resistance. So your hemoglobin A1C could be normal. Even your glucose in your comprehensive metabolic panel could be normal. But if your insulin is too high in relation to your glucose value, you could have significant insulin resistance and be in that pre-diabetes state.
And a lot of times when people eat healthier, their blood sugar doesn't always drop super fast, but you'll notice on their blood work that their insulin levels will start to drop, which means they're needing less insulin in order to keep the same healthier blood sugar levels. So oftentimes that's a good sign that they're improving, even if their actual glucose levels haven't changed yet. So it's one of those things that people get discouraged if they don't understand the lab. They're like, I've been eating healthy for 3 months now, and why is my blood sugar still the same? And I'll be like, it is the same, but if you look, your insulin used to be 15, 16, it's now 5 or 6. That means you don't need nearly as much insulin to maintain that blood sugar. So that's a really good sign that you're in the right direction. Plus, insulin stores body fat, so extra insulin's not going to be helpful when it comes to healthy weight.
There's also a 24-hour urine hormone test that we use that assesses all sex and steroid hormones and shows where there may be an imbalance, which might be a main contributor to why you are having trouble with weight loss.
Also, a complete thyroid panel. The key word there is complete. Many doctors tend to only run TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, which is the brain talking to the thyroid, telling the thyroid to produce hormones. So if you're not actually testing the hormones that your thyroid is producing, that would be T4 and T3, but you're not getting the full picture of the thyroid. It's also really important to check thyroid antibodies and see if there's any type of autoimmune condition in relation to the thyroid, if your immune system's attacking the thyroid and affecting thyroid function.
Hashimoto's is autoimmune thyroid, and so is Graves' disease, but Hashimoto's is one of the most common autoimmune conditions, and it's very common if your thyroid is low. So if you have ever been tested low for thyroid condition or low for thyroid function and they don't run antibodies, you're missing a major picture, because if you have autoimmune thyroid, there are different things you can do to treat that. And it's not just here's your thyroid drug for the rest of your life. You have to figure out why the thyroid did not function. Why is the immune system attacking the thyroid? And that's stuff we do in our office all the time. And we've gotten people off their thyroid meds when treating conditions like this because we were able to figure out what was causing the autoimmune reaction to the thyroid.
Yeah. Let's talk about some naturopathic treatment options. So as a naturopathic doctor, we're really great at treating the cause, and that's what we shine at, because if you don't treat the cause, you're just basically putting Band-Aids on a situation. So if hormonal imbalance is the cause of the weight gain, then we want to talk about the difference between hormone replacement therapy, supplementation, conventional synthetics. Now, this typically happens around menopausal age. That's when women start to gain weight in the torso, they lose brain focus, they lose energy, and that's typically when their hormones are decreasing and turning into little old lady, which we try to prevent as much as possible.
Yeah, it's really important when you're talking about hormones too, because a lot of the research that's been out there scares a lot of women, especially when they get into menopause, and they're terrified of which hormone to use. Is it going to increase the risk of breast cancer or ovarian cancer? And the truth of the matter is most of those studies that came out were based on using synthetic hormones, the ones that they give you in the pharmacy. These are the progestins and the ethyl estrogen. These synthetic products, a lot of them are made from horse urine. And yes, I said horse urine. The idea is that when you use synthetic products, your system's going to have issues. So again, there's a big difference between bioidentical and horse urine. So it's really important to understand that.
Dr. Ryder here with your tip of the week. So when it comes to maintaining healthy weight, I recommend mixing it up. Mix up that physical activity. So you have to have some form of physical exercise in your life if you want to maintain a healthy weight. My suggestion is to have several different forms of physical exercise and use them all. You can have a gym membership and take some dance lessons, or sign up for a new sport. There are learning activities, I'm sure probably at your community recreation area that you could sign up for. Utilize our beautiful weather and bike, walk, or hike. Your dog would love it, I'm sure. So do something different every day to keep your senses stimulated. If you're a creature of habit, your body gets very accustomed to those habits. Matter of fact, your body systems get a little lazy when they are in a habitual pattern because they're not challenged beyond that routine. So our bodies are designed to acclimate quickly to stress and changes in our environment, and our physical bodies are more efficient when we force them to adapt to something new.
I have a few patients who struggle with mobility, maybe have some joint pain or some issues with being active, and water aerobics is a very popular one among patients who maybe can't do weight-bearing exercises and things like that. So there's something for everyone. And don't even underestimate the power of just getting up and doing some household cleaning, just being active. It doesn't necessarily always have to look like exercise.
And it's also very common for people to start a new exercise, be really sore afterward, and then they quit because, oh, why would I do this again? It made me sore. But when you're using new muscles that you haven't really been using, it's normal to be sore. So give yourself a little recovery time, and then every time you do it, it tends to get a little bit easier. If you're doing it correctly, it tends to get a little easier as you do it. So don't be discouraged after one time. If you keep pushing yourself a little bit more and more, you'll start noticing that it doesn't hurt as much. Your endurance goes up, and you might actually start enjoying it.
Yeah, just keep showing up.
Show up and do stuff. Don't just show up.
Let's talk about food. I like talking about food. So prefer organic food when possible, whenever you're out shopping at the grocery store. If you want to grab vegetables, take a look at the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. If you really can't afford to buy everything organic, that'll tell you which ones are the best to buy organic. But those green leafy vegetables, buy colors, red, orange, purple even. Beans, peas, lentils, starches, and other vegetables
Skittles.
are really great. Not those colors.
You said purple.
Purple kale, purple carrots, eggplant.
Purple.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Like my new phone that I thought was blue.
I like that new phone. I noticed it.
I'm stuck with a purple phone.
I like it. It's good. There's
Yeah,
nothing wrong
of course
with
you
purple.
do. It's purple.
I thought it was blue, just
It's purple.
for the record.
Yeah, and then I wanted a black case around it so it didn't look purple when I figured it out. And they're like, oh, no, we only have a clear one, which made it look more purple.
You got something against eggplant?
No, I like eggplant,
Okay.
but not on the color of my phone.
When it comes to your plate, whenever you're making a plate for yourself, divide your plate in half. You should actually have half your plate in vegetables, and then the other half,
Skittles.
not those colors, do a quarter of your plate protein and the other quarter that's remaining for grains or starches. And that's how I recommend preparing your plate.
Healthy grains, not gluten.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes a big difference. So when you're talking about fruits, what are the best kinds of fruits? Whole fruit. Eat the fruit. When you juice, if you're buying just juice and you're like, I'm getting my oranges today because I just drank orange juice out of a box, you're not. So you think you're getting the fruit, you are not. You're getting a lot of sugar. It's actually closer resembling to soda when you drink juices that are pasteurized and made for your $3 consumption at the grocery store. You're getting things much closer related to soda than you are actually from the fruit. You need that fruit. You need that pectin. You need that fiber. And it makes a huge difference when it comes to how your body responds to the food. Plus, you get a lot more micronutrients out of it when you eat it versus when you drink it.
When it comes to grains, most, if not all, of the grains you eat should be whole grain. Our recommendation is to eat all grains as whole grain and organic. If you're eating a grain in any other form, it's most likely going to be refined. And there's a lot less health benefits when it comes to eating refined grains. We also tend to recommend avoiding wheat and gluten. It is typically inflammatory to just about everyone. And if you think you're special and it's not inflammatory to you, then you should probably run a food sensitivity panel and find out.
Even if it came back that you're not sensitive to gluten, it's still inflammatory. It breaks down in the body into sugar. So even if you think you're not sensitive to it, it's still inflammatory. So take it for what it's worth. Sorry for the truth.
What about dairy? Oh, this hits hard for some people. This is fat-free or low-fat milk included, yogurt, cheese, or even the lactose-free versions. Dairy we just recommend that you avoid it. And for the same reason as gluten, it just tends to be inflammatory. So you can run that food panel, and sometimes people have lactose intolerance, and that's completely different from the food panel. So, but you'll know if you have lactose intolerance.
Well, the problem with lactose intolerance is that the doctors always say you might grow out of it. And the truth is you're not lactose intolerant. You are, but it's because you're not a cow. If you were a cow, you'd probably make plenty of lactase enzyme to break down lactose. But most humans are not cows. And therefore, you're not probably going to make a lot of lactase enzyme, which means most people are lactose intolerant. Yeah. And so then they're told, okay, you be careful. But no, you're dairy intolerant. You're not lactose intolerant. You're more than lactose intolerant. You're dairy intolerant. Sorry again for the truth.
When it comes to soy, as long as you're not sensitive to soy, this can be a really great health food. It also should always be purchased as organic and non-GMO. There's some conflicting evidence that it can affect hormones if too much is consumed, as it is a phytoestrogen. But I see things all the time where men are like, oh, I can't touch soy because I'm going to grow breasts. It doesn't exactly work that way. But again, make sure it's always organic. That's really important with soy.
If you eat a lot of soy and you eat it with a lot of sugar and other things like that, you might grow breasts.
But are you blaming the soy or?
No, probably the diet.
Yeah.
So the labels that we were talking about earlier with the nutrition labels, just focus on the ingredients. Be careful with the words that mean things, other things, and you'll just have to look them up. Thank goodness we have Google now in our lifetime. I used to carry around a dictionary and a thesaurus to look things up. That's how old I am. But Google, hallelujah, has changed that for me. Dairy can hide under words like casein, lactoalbumin, whey, ghee. Ghee is a dairy product, even though it's considered more healthy dairy. And then eggs has other names that it hides under, and wheat can hide under other names.
The good thing about eggs, dairy, wheat is they are major food allergens. So the nutrition label and the ingredient label should say in bold contains gluten, contains egg, contains dairy. So if you're looking for those big players, it's a little easier because they tend to be listed more clearly just because they are very common allergens.
My sister, she had lost a decent amount of weight, and I asked her how she did it one time. This is several years ago. And she said, oh, I just control my portions now. I don't eat as much as I used to. That was the only change she made. Now, she was still eating some unhealthy foods, but she just cut down on her portion sizes.
Honestly, that's the only thing that was ever sustainable for me. About 5-6 years ago, I lost 40 pounds, and it was just from cutting my meals in half. Because when I cut out food groups and tried to limit myself too much or get too into the diet culture, it just was never sustainable. The only thing that was sustainable was still eating what I wanted, just in smaller amounts.
That's why I lost my train of thought is when you said Google, because Google tells everybody everything about their health now. And so then people look things up and see, oh, I have fatigue. Oh, that means I have cancer. So when you said we love Google, we love Google to an extent.
I love the Google Dictionary. How about that?
The Google Dictionary is good.
Yeah.
But Google, when it comes to health, is a scary tool.
It is. It is. So if you feel like you're just not getting to the bottom of your health, keep us in mind. Contact us at Naturopathic Physicians Group. I'm Dr. Loreena Ryder alongside my co-hosts, Dr. Stephen Katz and Dr. Hannah Lindsay. We're here to discuss different topics on health and natural ways to treat them. Today we are talking about healthy weight and how to achieve that, part 2. This is also the episode where Dr. Katz was right. I feel like I have to say that on record. Dr. Katz was right.
This is recorded on a podcast.
About the women's sizing being downsized to make us feel better about the size of our bodies.
We need to change our intro to the show and just put that segment right there. Dr. Katz was right, and I'm good with that. So what are ways to help maintain your weight? We already talked about exercise and how do something, minimum of 150 minutes of exercise weekly for most adults, but you can do more as long as you're doing good. Stuff like yoga, physical activity, and everybody else's favorite, what about sex? Sex is a great way to maintain weight. On average, you will burn between 100 to 300 calories in a passionate, fun-filled 30-minute sex session. So for most guys out there, you're probably only going to burn 20 to 30 calories because it says 30-minute sex session. However, 30 full minutes, you could get 100 to 300 calories, and it also helps lose belly fat.
That's great. That's going to set some goals for people.
Yeah, last longer. Burn more calories.
So what about supplements when it comes to either trying to lose weight or maintain a healthy weight? Keep in mind, any of the supplements we mentioned here today, we're not recommending you start anything new or stop taking anything. We always want you to consult your physician before changing any supplement protocols. And if you don't have a doctor for that, you should come see us at Naturopathic Physicians Group. But one supplement that is great, specifically helps you curb appetite and plays a role in blood sugar control, is ALA, or alpha lipoic acid. This is one that we do as an oral supplement as well as an IV therapy. So really great nutrient.
Yeah, ALA is a powerful antioxidant. It helps regulate the blood sugar, like Dr. Lindsay was saying, but it's also great for nerve function. So we've done this with people that have neuropathy or diabetic neuropathy, aging. It's amazing the potency that ALA does. And it also makes other nutrients work better. So when you're using ALA, if you're doing other antioxidants in your regimen, it will make them more potent. So it's a really nice mix to a regimen.
Chromium picolinate is something that is used quite a bit as a supplement that enhances insulin, decreases your appetite and body fat, and helps boost your muscle mass. So some supplements we use have combination of chromium with other items, but this is something that can be a standalone.
Green tea extract is also really great. Even just drinking green tea, this can help to curb appetite, and it also is going to help increase your metabolism as well.
And organic always, when you're talking about teas, organic's better on almost everything, but tea especially. And another thing that's in green tea is green tea contains something called theanine, which is a natural relaxer, but it makes you relax without making you tired. So that's a nice benefit, because a lot of times when people are drinking coffee, they feel wired, but when they drink tea, they don't feel wired. They feel more kind of that Zen relax mode, and it's because of the theanine in there. So it's really good for sugar. It's good for appetite. It's good for metabolism, and it's also good for your anxiety.
Amino acids are really awesome. They're building blocks for proteins in our bodies. Sometimes you have to buy a yucky tasting powder to get those amino acids in, but if you're eating high quality meats, that's a good place to start. And a lot of people use amino acids in their pre-workout shakes, but they are really great for maintaining a healty weight.
You don't hear the word yucky very often.
Did I say that?
You said yucky. You must have had children, because that's a word parents use. Yeah,
guilty.
So B vitamins are great too. You want to make sure that they are activated and methylated B vitamins, so not all B vitamins are made the same. Our bodies are going to use B vitamins as cofactors in numerous chemical reactions that happen in our bodies every single day. Vitamin B deficiencies are a huge problem and can lead to a diseased state in the body. B vitamins are good for immune health, energy, brain and nerve function. They are anti-anxiety, good for hormone health, cardiovascular health, anemia prevention, and also great for healthy pregnancies.
And B vitamins are yucky.
They can make your pee look yucky too.
Yes, they do. They make them very fluorescently colored. It's actually a pretty color. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
I wish I had that color over the purple phone I got.
Give me vitamin B urine color phone, please. Ask them and see what they say.
It's still better than the purple.
Fish oil is really great whenever you're trying to maintain a healthy weight. It helps curb hunger and appetite, among a slew of other things, but that would be the benefit of fish oil.
It's a great anti-inflammatory, and so is ginger. Ginger's good. Ginger's most famous for digestion. It's really good for acid reflux. It's good at calming the stomach down. It's great for that, but it also helps increase fat burning through a process known as thermogenesis.
That's the heating up part.
The heating up of burning the fat down.
Yeah.
Vitamin D is also important. You want to make sure it's vitamin D3, as that's the type of vitamin D you need in the body, or cholecalciferol. Vitamin D2 is not going to absorb as well, and it doesn't benefit humans the way that D3 does. So make sure to check fortified foods. They're often going to have D2. Vitamins also might have D2 instead of D3. And pharmacy prescriptions are very often vitamin D2. So they're not going to have the same benefit as that D3 will.
Iodine is something that sometimes gets some pushback from other medical professionals because iodine's kind of controversial. However, if you have weight issues that are due to low thyroid function, iodine can be very beneficial. And you don't have to take it in supplement form. You can get it in iodine-rich foods like seaweed, kelp, and high-quality salts and seafood.
And you do have to be careful with iodine, though, because there's a lot of differences between the strength of what you're taking. Over the counter, they can get pretty high doses over there, and they can become toxic. They can also be toxic to your thyroid if you take way too much. So you have to be very careful with iodine. There's also some great procedures. If you're taking good supplements, you're eating clean and your hormones are balanced and having trouble losing that extra weight, there are some options you can do that are a little bit more procedural based, but can really help you when it comes to fat burning. One of them is known as MIC injections or MIC B12 injections. MIC stands for methionine, inositol, and choline, and then oftentimes they add B12 to that mix as well. This combination is a major liver support, so it helps with the body to just metabolize in general and detox, but it also helps the body metabolize fat cells and helps eliminate that stored fat. So these injections are an amazing addition to a healthy lifestyle. Now, I say that because you can't eat like crap, then do a bunch of injections and think everything's going to be perfect. It doesn't work that way. But if you're doing everything right and need help burning that fat, these MIC shots do an amazingly good job at burning fat while also protecting you from that term I used earlier, sarcopenia, which is the loss of muscle and storage of fat. So it helps your body maintain muscle and burn the fat.
Which you've begun your sarcopenia journey.
Yeah, because you told me it was in my 30s, not my 40s. I thought I had a couple more years to wait.
Sorry.
Way to be the bearer of bad news.
Let's talk about HCG. So this is human chorionic gonadotropin. HCG can be administered in injection form or sublingual, but I don't think we do sublingual here in Arizona. There's some sort of, we can't do that here, but we can do injections. This is a diet. It's an extreme caloric restriction diet, and it was founded by Dr. Simeons. And you can, basically it's a 500 calorie per day intake. Now there are some variabilities with that, but it's restricting oils and fats. This is a tough diet to do, but it is very effective. You can lose a half or even up to a full pound per day on this program. It's a 3-week program. You can do longer, but we like to monitor that. And that's something that we've had great success with at Naturopathic Physicians Group.
And we usually run an in-body scan as well. An in-body is basically a really fancy scale that shows you your body fat, your ability to burn calories in a day. So it shows how much skeletal muscle mass, how much of your body is water weight. So those are usually included when we do the HCG. So when we check them every week, we can monitor how much muscle mass you have. Did you put muscle on? Did you lose any muscle? And how much fat have you burned and how much water weight you've burned? So you can really see how you're doing during this HCG diet.
Sauna therapy can also be used in conjunction with a healthy weight loss routine. This is typically going to be water weight loss, so you want to make sure to hydrate really well. But steam sauna, far infrared sauna, really great to help detox the body.
So we talked last week about conventional medicine, and their jobs really is surgery and pills or injections that are just harmful to you on so many levels, but they can cause you to lose weight. And today we talked more about natural ways to do it so you can maintain that weight loss and heal. So thank you for tuning in to Your Health is Wealth. We'll see you next week for another great episode.